Hello, everybody. Today, I talk about narcissism and what you need to know to avoid the trap. I recently completed reading the book, How to Kill a Narcissist by the author J.H. Simon. However you say it. It is a fascinating book in how it takes the concept of narcissism that a growing number of us these days are increasingly aware of and breaks down what's really going on into a very simplistic spectrum with shame on one end of the spectrum and grandiosity on the other end. And it describes sort of the healthy balance between the two, which is where we're aiming for that healthy balance. But some people get too far on the grandiosity side and they're living a fantasy about how great they are. Nothing's as great as them. But then some people get, as a result of that, well, as a result of grandiose people, like overly grandiose people or narcissists, people get pushed way too far on the shame end of the spectrum. But also people end up on that shame end of the spectrum by not having healthy boundaries. Surprisingly, the book, maybe not surprisingly, the book did a really good job of explaining that victims of narcissism, actually the solution, although in some cases you need to walk away from narcissism, the solution actually lies with you. It lies with ourselves and our ability to develop and grow healthy boundaries for ourselves. We need to call things out at certain times. We need to know when to say no to somebody or when to modify or stick with how we feel. Maybe someone cracks a joke at your expense. Oh, you're always wearing goofy clothes like that. And instead of us doing sort of the programmed socially acceptable thing and sort of laughing with it, we don't laugh. We just say, I don't think these clothes are ridiculous. I like them. They suit me. If you got a problem with them, then whatever, The book is really good at that. What it also does well is it describes the different strategies of narcissism. There's three basic parts to what they do. Essentially, what a narcissist will do is they will break down your identity. They'll kind of wear it away. It might be through belittling or making fun of you a little bit, just prodding and all of that. And if you get too offended by it or whatever, they'll pull back a little bit. They'll always kind of push right to your limit and then push again right to your limit. But they're trying to kind of erase your confidence and your own identity, your own self-identity. Then secondly, over time, they like to replace your identity with the one that they prefer. It serves them. And then thirdly, they cement the whole package in place with a sort of shame and reward system. Maybe they give you the cold shoulder if you don't behave correctly, or they rarely engage in any kind of fair emotional exchange. The book does a good job of talking about that too. In a balanced exchange, we sort of feel the emotion of another person's story. We are willing to really live someone else's experience with them when they share it with us and go there with them, whatever that looks like. Narcissists, they just want you to get over it, but they want you to go there with them. And they don't care if you're giving them healthy attention or if they're just causing some drama and triggering you and causing a fight. They don't care as long as they're getting attention. So we have to develop healthy boundaries. We have to grow as human beings and be willing to walk. I heard it said really well that unless you're able basically to say, screw you and walk away in any situation, if you're not able to do that potentially, then you have no ability to negotiate in the situation. Now, in relationships, you shouldn't every time you get frustrated just say screw you and walk away. That's a whole other subject. But business negotiations, negotiating with a boss, and yes, in relationships, sometimes you need to just at least have the ability, if absolutely necessary, to say, I don't like any of this and I'm out. It's healthy. With friends, you need to have the ability to say, that activity that you're suggesting isn't interesting to me, or it doesn't suit my time very well. Maybe I'll come do part of that, but I don't want to come and do all of that. Maybe you've got a friend that wants you to come shopping with them all day and you say, well, how about I come for a couple of hours because I have some things to do today too. And while I'm there, I'd like to take off for a half hour. I can get a couple of things that I need too while I'm there, but the other hour and a half I'll spend with you. So you need to have that ability to negotiate and modify. And if it's not okay with them, if you can't come up with something that's mutually agreeable, then you have to have the ability to say, well, no, then. And the answer is no. I hope that's helpful. It's a really important subject to look into. And that book, again, this was loaned to me by a friend. How to Kill a Narcissist by J.H. Simon, looks like. Very powerful book. I'm tempted to open some parts and get into it, which I won't do right now. But understanding healthy boundaries and recognizing the tactics of narcissism, whether it's extreme or subtle, is, I think, an important part of growing in life. And it can help you have a lot happier time if you work on it. So I hope that's helpful. I hope there's some value there. Have an amazing day, everyone.